Hi, beautiful people. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm going to cover some stuff. There's some things that came to my attention, but I'm going to have to talk about that another time, you guys. I'm going to share a little bit of news with you. We might talk about it later. Everything I share is for educational and fair use purposes. I'll get right into it. Hey, Real Trump said, how are you? Good morning. You know I like this time slot. I'm just up right now. I'm just up. So I'm going to share a little bit of news with you. I hope that you're doing okay. Right back at ya. Hey, you guys. Team America, right? Okay, let's see what's happening. Good to see you too, Real Trump. Hey, BZ. BB. Y'all, I'm going to try to hang out with you guys for at least an hour. I got you. Everything okay? No, Doc. No, actually. Everything is not okay. But okay, wait, before I get into my news, I'm gonna say this real quick. But I don't have the kind of platform to where I can really address things that happens from these larger channels when they're coming for me and my small little space. We got to talk about it on another live stream. And you can hit me up under a video. I'm gonna get into the news, but everything is I just talk about the news. So, when larger channels we'll talk about it another time. We'll talk about it another time. Okay, let's see.
Well, good morning.
Can you guys
Yesterday
hear
at
that?
Dover Air Force Base, President Trump, the chairman, and I stood in solemn silence as heroes came home.
We'll talk later.
Flag draped caskets. We honored them. We grieved with their families, and we listened. What I heard through tears, through hugs, through strength, and through unbreakable resolve was the same from family after family. They said, finish this. Honor their sacrifice. Do not waver. Do not stop until the job is done. My response, along with that of the president, was simple. Of course, we will finish this. We will honor their sacrifice. Their sacrifice only steals our commitment. I wear this bracelet. Staff Sergeant Jorge Oliveira, he was one of my sergeants or one of my specialists in Guantanamo Bay. He deployed later to Afghanistan, where he was killed on 19 October 2011. Killed 10 years after 9/11, 15 years ago. He was one of the 1%, the best of America. Not just a guardsman, but a law enforcement officer back home and a family man. I remember him every day, just like so many other men and women of our generation and previous generations who wear bracelets like this. Just as we will always remember those lost in this conflict. Their names are now etched into our mission and into the soul of a grateful nation. I stand here today speaking to you, the American people, not through filters, not through reporters, not through cable news spin. A dishonest and anti-Trump press will stop at nothing. We know this at this point. To downplay progress, amplify every cost, and call into question every step. Sadly, TDS is in their DNA. They want President Trump to fail. But you, the American people, know better. Yes, there are reporters in front of me, but they are not our audience today. It's you, the good, decent, patriotic American people. You, the hardworking, tax-paying.
I'm sorry, did he just say TDS was in their vocabulary, something like that?
God-fearing American patriots. The media here, not all of it, but much of it, wants you to think, just 19 days into this conflict, that we're somehow spinning toward an endless abyss or a forever war or a quagmire. Nothing could be further from the truth. Hear it from me, one of hundreds of thousands who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, who watched previous foolish politicians like Bush, Obama, and Biden squander American credibility. This is not those wars. President Trump knows better. Epic Fury is different. It's laser. Our objectives, given directly from our America First president, remain exactly what they were on day one. These are not the media's objectives, not Iran's objectives, not new objectives, our objectives, unchanged, on target, and on plan. Destroy missiles, launchers, and Iran's defense industrial base so they cannot rebuild. Destroy their navy, and Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. Our objectives from day one. To the patriotic members of the press, nobody can deliver perfection in wartime. This building knows that more than anyone. But report the reality. We're winning decisively and on our terms. Iran is a vast country, and just like Hamas and their tunnels, they've poured any aid, any economic development, humanitarian aid into tunnels and rockets. That's what they did with Hamas. Iran has funneled decades of state resources, not to their people, but into missiles and drones and proxies and buried facilities. But we are hunting them down methodically, ruthlessly, and overwhelmingly, like no other military in the world can do. And the results speak for themselves. To date, we've struck over 7,000 targets across Iran and its military infrastructure. That is not incremental. That is overwhelming force applied with precision. And again, today will be the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was. As I've said from day one, our capabilities continue to build. Iran's continue to degrade. We're hunting and striking death and destruction from above. Iran's air defenses flattened. Iran's defense industrial base, the factories, the production lines that feed their missile and drone programs, being overwhelmingly destroyed. We've hit hundreds of their defense industrial bases directly. Their ability to manufacture new ballistic missiles has probably taken the hardest hit of all. Ballistic missile attacks against our forces down 90% since the start of the conflict. Same with one-way attack UAVs. Think kamikaze drones, down 90%. Now, the Iranians will still shoot, we know that, but they would shoot a lot more if they could, but they can't. The last job anyone in the world wants right now? Senior leader for the IRGC or Basij. Temp jobs, all of them. And to borrow a page from Admiral Ernest King in World War II, we've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half. We've damaged or sunk over 120 of their Navy ships, with battle damage assessments pending for many more. See, oftentimes we have to wait a few days on battle damage assessment to get the real number. Their surface fleet is no longer a factor. Their submarines, they once had 11, are gone. Their military ports are crippled. Iran has terrorized the United States and our interests for 47 years. Their core industries, not steel or agriculture, or tourism. Their core industries are state-sponsored terrorism, proxy militias, underground networks, ballistic missiles, and a violent, messianic, Islamist ideology chasing some sort of apocalyptic endgame. A regime like that, refusing to abandon its nuclear ambitions, is not just a regional problem. It's a direct threat to America, to freedom, and to civilization. The world, the Middle East, our ungrateful allies in Europe, even segments of our own press should be saying one thing to President Trump. Thank you. Thank you for the courage to stop this terror state from holding the world hostage with missiles while building or attempting to build a nuclear bomb. Thank you for doing the work of the free world. Yesterday's ceremony reminded us why we fight. Not for nation building or democracy promotion, but to crush direct threats to America, Americans, and our interests. We fight to win, and we are winning on our terms, following our objectives. My 13-year-old son popped into my office last night while I was editing these remarks. He asked about the war and the families I met at Dover. And I looked at him and I said, they died for you, son, so that your generation doesn't have to deal with a nuclear Iran. It's the truth. And they did. So to the families who said, finish this, we will. And I say the same to every American who wants peace through strength. May Almighty God continue to bless our troops in this fight. And again, to the American people, please pray for them every day, on bended knee, with your family, in your schools, in your churches, in the name of Jesus Christ. To the troops, keep going, and Godspeed. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you all for being here. I also had the honor yesterday, as the Secretary said, of traveling up to Dover with the President to welcome home our six fallen. It was an honor and a privilege for me to be there and to say thank you to their families. And I want to mention their names this morning. From the 6th Aerial Refueling Wing out of MacDill Air Force Base, Florida, but stationed as part of an active associate unit at Birmingham, Alabama, Major Alex Klenner, John Alex Klenner, Major Ariana Savino. She was posthumously promoted from captain to major, and Technical Sergeant Ashley Pruitt, the boom operator on that crew. From the 121st Aerial Refueling Ring, Ohio Air National Guard out of Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base in Columbus, Ohio, Captain Seth Koval, Captain Curtis Anks, and now Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons, who was also promoted in the boom operator on that crew. To a person and every family member I spoke with yesterday, they all shared that their family members loved serving. They loved being part of a great team and a crew, and they loved airplanes and aviation. Our nation's tanker crews really are unsung heroes, incredible warriors who put their lives on the line so we can continue to take the fight to an enemy. I've personally witnessed their courage and tenacity many times, from the morning of September 11th, where they answered my call for some help, to the skies over foreign countries where they've come forward out of their safe tanker track to give me gas when I simply could not leave a ground force that was engaged in a firefight. They've answered the call and come forward time and time and time again. I'm filled with incredible pride and gratitude for all that the tanker crews do, our pilots, our boom operators, and the maintainers. And to the families of our six fallen, know that we share your grief. Our nation will never forget their sacrifice, and we will never forget their names. Our entire joint force mourns with you today, and will continue to remember their incredible gift of a great example for all of us. Now, let me turn to an operations update. U.S. CENTCOM remains on plan to achieve our military objectives and remain unrelenting in our pursuit of Iranian missile capabilities, UAV capabilities, and their Navy, and as the Secretary said, their industrial base. Each day, we continue to attack deeper into Iranian territory. As reported by U.S. Central Command yesterday, the U.S. military dropped 5,000-pound penetrator weapons into underground storage facilities, storing coastal defense cruise missiles and other support equipment. These weapons are bespokely designed to get through concrete and/or rocks and function after penetrating those barriers. We continue to hunt and kill mine storage facilities and naval ammunition depots. We continue to hunt and kill afloat assets, including more than 120 vessels and 44 mine layers, and the pressure will continue. We're flying further to the east now and penetrating deeper into Iranian airspace to hunt and kill one-way attack garrisons, destroying Iran's ability to project power outside of its borders. The A-10 Warthog is now in the fight across the southern flank and is hunting and killing fast attack watercraft in the Straits of Hormuz. In addition, AH-64 Apaches have joined the fight on the southern flank, and they continue to work on the southern side. And that includes some of our allies who are using Apaches to handle one-way attack drones. In Iraq, AH-64s have been striking against Iranian-aligned militia groups to make sure that we suppress any threat in Iraq against U.S. forces or U.S. interests. And we remain focused on pursuit of any platform that Iran could field to harm Americans or our partners. Last Friday, Admiral Cooper and the CENTCOM team conducted precision strikes against more than 90 targets on Karg Island, which included all of their military-only infrastructure, which included air defenses, naval base, mine storage, and deployment facilities. And as the Secretary mentioned, we continue to strike against Iran's defense industrial base and will continue to do so. Today, I want to continue my theme of talking about members of our incredible joint force. Today, I want to talk about some exceptional airmen who are engaged in the fight daily. United States Air Force, Air Force Reserve, and Air National Guard crews within our bomber force, the B-1s, B-2s, and B-52s, and the airmen on the ground who maintain and load these weapon systems. They are the backbone of America's long-range strike capability, and their contributions to Epic Fury have been decisive. Assigned to STRATCOM under Admiral Rich Correll and supported by TRANSCOM, the tanker force that we've talked about, under the command of General Randall Reed, every mission is designed to achieve overwhelming outcomes on behalf of the United States and our allies. Last weekend, I had the chance to go out and see some of our deployed bomber forces, the B-1 and B-52 crews, and I had a chance to sit down with some young aviators and maintainers and ask them, how do you feel? Tell me about your typical day. And these are crews comprised of between 2 and 5 airmen, 2 on the B-2s, 5 on the B-52s, and 4 in the B-1s out there. Some of these Americans are in their early or mid-20s, and we give them the gift of this incredible responsibility, hundreds of thousands of pounds of aircraft, and they take off and go do our work as required. Their mission actually begins the day prior when they're given a target or a bunch of targets, and they begin to study those targets, look at what are the effects required, what are the weapons required to get there, how will we program these weapons, what is the weather, what is the tanker flow. It's an incredibly complex problem that we give each and every one of these crews, and they work it over the period of 24 hours prior, get some rest, and then step out the door to go fly. The last thing they do is they check all of their equipment, their oxygen mask, survival gear, load pistols, and get ready to go. They crank the jets about an hour prior to takeoff and then launch into the daylight, doing their pre-flight checks, and as the kids say, lock in and prepare to go to war, sometimes on a long and stressful journey. During the flight, they're surrounded by technology and capabilities, and they'll do multiple aerial refueling efforts across tankers on the way to the AOR, area of responsibility, either coming from the States or coming from a forward deployed basing. And I will tell you, as a fighter pilot, getting gas is a lot easier in an F-16 than it is in a B-1, B-2, or a B-52, where you are handling this airplane. It is a physical thing, unlike a fighter that's a lot easier. And they stay on that boom for sometimes up to 30 minutes, taking hundreds of thousands of pounds of gas. It is a physical, demanding thing to take gas, and they do it multiple times on the way there, and they do it multiple times on the way home. As they enter the operating area, they bring the entirety of America's joint force together to go do the things that we've tasked them to do, to put bombs on time, on target with the proper effects. And I know they're feeling a range of emotions, but the thing the American people should take away from it is they're filled with a focus that is incredibly impressive. And they have fear, of course, but their bigger fear is, dear God, please don't let me screw this up. The warrior's prayer that we all have in our souls. In the days of epic fury, they were shooting, as we've talked about in this room, a lot of standoff weapons. Now we've switched and rolled, as I mentioned last week, to stand-in weapons. And behind each and every one of them are incredible maintainers and weapons builders who go out there and make sure these aircraft and their weapon systems are ready to go. These airplanes are so big that they're not in hangars. They're out in the cold, out in the snow, out in the rain. The bombs are being built outside for protection and to make sure that it's safe. And they do it 24/7, 365. It's not comfortable work, but when you go spend just a minute with these incredibly young Americans who are so motivated, you cannot come away from that exchange not being hopeful for America's future. It is simply awesome. And we hand these Americans, young Americans, incredible and weighty responsibility, and they deliver every single time, quietly, with professionalism and humility, doing the things that we ask them to do. In conclusion, we will continue major combat operations. As the Secretary said, we continue to get busier. I know the Secretary and I share that we're incredibly proud of 2.8 million members of our joint force. I am personally, and we are personally grateful for the tenacity and professionalism of the brave men and women who serve inside STRATCOM, CENTCOM, SPACECOM, CYBERCOM, TRANSCOM, and the rest of the joint force. And I'll close where I started. I ask today that we remember those 6 fallen that came home. They represent the best of our nation. For those families that are feeling the pain, know that we are with you and will remain with you. May we always prove worthy of their sacrifice. And I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Take a couple questions.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Given the updated degradation in strike target numbers you laid out, how close would you say we are towards achieving the president's objectives? And what is the end game of the operation without divulging any sensitive battle plans?
Well, we wouldn't want to set a definitive time frame on that, but as we've said, we're on plan. So we're looking at those metrics very closely, relaying that to the president and the national security team, but feel confident that again, we're more stand in means we're over the top, even further in, and we have even more of an exact sense of what we're striking and why, and even more dynamically, meaning because the intelligence improved, we're able to more quickly identify targets when let's say they come out of an underground facility where they've been hiding and able to strike it before it strikes or right after it shoots. But we're very much on plan, and that's why I want to speak to the American people here. You hear a lot of noise about widening or new missions or speculation about what we should or should not be doing. This is a clear set of objectives. The president has given us every capability we need to accomplish that. We've got the best in the world in uniform, executing it on the ground. They believe in and are invested in this mission. And it will be at the president's choosing, ultimately, where we say, hey, we've achieved what we need to on behalf of the American people to ensure our security. So no time set on that, but we're very much on track. Absolutely. Yes, right here.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary. David Zier, Real America's Voice News. What countries have been the most cooperative with us, including the Gulf states, as Europe hedges? And I also wanted to ask you, the internet blackouts by the regime, it's been shut down for weeks. Is the U.S. military playing a role in, fighting against the regime, blocking VPN networks and satellites and other things? Is there a role for the U.S. military there?
Obviously, on the allies and partners side, Israel from day one has been an incredible and capable partner, willing and able. There's nothing like capabilities and partners that are able to use them. The Gulf states have stepped up incredibly. In fact, Iran's sort of reckless attempt to strike civilian infrastructure and other things has brought countries who maybe would have not been as all in as they are today squarely into our orbit. And we're proud to be defending with them, standing with them, you name it. UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and others who have been right there. And we're grateful for that kind of support. As far as the internet, we're watching the regime try to tighten its grip as much as possible. And we're obviously taking countermeasures, many of which we can't talk about here, to ensure that messaging is delivered, not just to the Iranian people writ large, but to the right audiences, certain audiences that need to hear certain things about what their fate might look like or what their choices are. So even though that regime is trying really hard to ensure the world can't see, right? They want to put out fake AI generated images, which, by the way, sometimes our press happens to fall for, like the Abraham Lincoln on fire and turning around. These AI generated images are meant to make it look like something's happening when the exact opposite is. So they make up fake reports and fake images to lie to their own people to try to make it. But even then, their own people can barely receive a lot of those messages and communicate because of the blackout that they've imposed upon them. But we work around that for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. General, overnight, Iran launched missiles across the Gulf. They managed to hit the Saudi oil refinery on the Red Sea. What does it mean that they have that capability now, 3 weeks into the war? And Mr. Secretary, you mentioned civilian infrastructure. Iran seems to be treating U.S. diplomatic outposts, embassies, consulates like they are legitimate hard targets in the region now. What is the Pentagon doing to, I guess, secure those assets, stop those attacks?
Absolutely.
Thanks for the question on the missile strikes. You know, as we said and have always said, clearly they came into this fight with a lot of weapons. This is why we continue to be as aggressive and assertive as we can against their ballistic missile capability, both their medium range ballistic missile capability and their short range missile capabilities. So we are continuing to hunt and find them and kill them. And we will continue to do so. So they still retain some capability. And we have layered defenses throughout the region that will allow us to protect those. And we're working with our partners across the Gulf region to help them improve any defensive capabilities that they may need.
To that point on capabilities, you know, Iran's an energy rich country, could be, should be. Instead, like so many other places driven by a radical ideology, they've spent that money instead of investing in their people. That's why you had millions of Iranians protesting, because they felt like their quality of life didn't match what it could be or should be. And what was the Iranian state? There's a reason we call Iran the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, because they took the money they make and they invest it in tunnels, and they invested in missiles, and they invested in launchers and UAVs. And we are destroying and degrading that in historic proportions. But it doesn't mean they won't still have some and try to hold people at issue, which is why we're fighting every single day to continue to compel. And you mentioned embassies and consulates. Unlike previous administrations, we are doubling and tripling down on ensuring that our people, regardless of their Department of War, Department of State, whatever they do, are secure in those facilities. And the best defense is a good offense. And so we're not afraid to go after and kill anybody, and we have a lot of them attempting to target our diplomatic facilities. Iran, you know, we're not surprised that they would indiscriminately target, and we're still seeing that. Jerry.
As part of the justification for the war against Iran, the White House has laid out in fairly comprehensive fashion the Iranian regime's 47 years of terrorism aimed at the U.S., including pointing to the IRGC's provision of weapons and EFPs to help kill Americans in Iraq. The Pentagon in 2019 assessed Iran was responsible for the deaths of at least 603 service members in Iraq, but there hasn't been a similar public accounting by Iran's role helping the Taliban in Afghanistan. And that also hasn't been part of the White House's public argument. I was wondering if you could speak to Iran's role in helping the Taliban during the war in Afghanistan. And Chairman, as you and the Secretary eloquently spoke about, 13 U.S. service members have been killed so far during Operation Epic Fury. I was wondering what lessons have been learned from those deaths, both from Iranian strikes, from an aircraft refueling accident. How are those lessons being applied to the current conflict? And how are those lessons going to be applied to a potential conflict in Indo-PACOM?
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question. And it's true. In a town that can have a very short memory, President Trump does not. He remembers what this Iranian regime was founded on. what their declaration has been from the beginning: death to America, death to Israel. They've stated that. They've intended to, in every way, try to accomplish that, killing Americans in any theater they can, embassies for quite a long time. In Iraq, that was the deadliest weapon, was the EFP, the explosively formed penetrator. I was there when that tactic and technique started to emerge, and the realization was it wasn't just jihadis putting together 155 rounds daisy chained. It was an entire state, a country with its apparatus able to mold steel in a way that was specifically designed to penetrate American armor and kill Americans. This was not, maybe we send them a couple of thoughts about how to build a bomb. This was Iran specifically passing technology and wherewithal and personnel into Iraq to kill Americans specifically. I know the number is said to be 600. A lot of us think it's higher than that, given the amount of capability they brought in. So they have been at war with us, whether we acknowledge it or not, for 47 years. The same goes in Afghanistan. Name the Islamist enemy, whether they are Sunni or Shia, because this is a Shia regime, Sunni or Shia, and Iran's been willing to harbor them as long as that group is willing to try to kill Americans. So the enemy of their enemy has been their friend as well in the Islamist world. So Iran, whether it's Iraq, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's around the world, has been targeting Americans. And what they wanted in this context, and what President Trump would not tolerate, is a regime of that nature being closer and closer to nuclear capabilities, a capability they would have said they would want to use, and we ought to believe what our enemies say they would do if they got the most dangerous weapon in the world. So it's been across every theater that Iran's been a threat to America, and sometimes we have to remind folks of that, but thank goodness we have a commander-in-chief who, on behalf of this country, has internalized that and said, hey, we're going to do something about it.
Jerry, I do want to talk about the lessons learned question because it's important to me. I won't share particular tactical lessons, and the KC-135 incident is under investigation. But I do want to talk about how I think about this and how we think about it. And this is something that I'm pretty passionate about. I believe the Joint Force has to be a very fast learning organization. Early, often, and always. And so in each case, both at the strategic, operational, and tactical level, we've charged the Joint Force to look at themselves and say, what was our plan? Well, first, did we have a plan? Yes or no? The answer is always yes, because we plan for literally everything. Did we execute our plan? Yes or no? If we did it work? If not, why not? If we didn't execute our plan, but did something better, what's the lesson learned associated with that? And then how do we quickly capture those lessons after every loss or every engagement and quickly adopt those lessons and then share them across the entirety of the Joint Force? And inside the Joint Staff, we've tasked our J7 Directorate under the lead of Lieutenant General Lazewski, a United States Marine, to be extremely entrepreneurial in harvesting and capturing those lessons in a proactive and not reactive way. In fact, we've got teammates from the J7 who are now spread out across the CENTCOM theater, both here in the States and forward, to ensure that in every opportunity, we do not miss a chance to grab that lesson and quickly accelerate it into the practice that we adopt inside the Joint Force, so that if there's a loss or if there's something that we can learn from, that we learn it not only in the CENTCOM AOR, but we adapt it across all of the combatant commands, not just INDOPACOM. And it's across all of the warfighting functions. I've asked them to look rigorously, to check our egos at the door, to remember this is about what's right, not who's right, and to be clinical around the way we look at lessons learned, because we owe it to the force to do that. Thanks for that question.
Absolutely. Brown jacket in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Jonathan Dre with Roca Politics. As you said, at the end of this war, Iran will be without a missile or drone capability, a navy, or the ability to make nuclear weapons. Since the largest threat and sponsor of terror in the region will be incapacitated, are there plans to move assets and troops out of the Middle East? I guess in a perfect world, a year after the war has ended, what does the military presence in the Middle East look like compared to before the war?
Well, I appreciate the question. I do think when you address a real threat head on, it creates new options on the other side. Right? I think what President Trump refuses to do, which too often this town does, is just sit in the status quo. oh, nobody could do about that. They've got too much capability. What if this happens? What if that happens? He instead says, what's in the interest of the American people? It's going to take some courage. It's going to take some capabilities. We're going to have to gather some forces there in order to do it. We're not going to tell people how many or how long or what we're willing to do or what we're not willing to do. But if you do that and do that decisively, then out the other end is a recognition that it opens the aperture of what's possible. I mean, President Trump did the same thing in creating an opportunity for the Abraham Accords. Now you've got a situation where a lot of those countries are coming alongside us, recognizing the threat of Iran. So I think our posture in the future will be based first and foremost on our own national security, power projection, the ability to defend our people and our interests. But no doubt, working alongside our partners, the president will look at what makes the most sense going forward. I appreciate that question. Yes, right here.
War crime, is that the policy of the U.S. military
Excuse me,
now?
I didn't.
Thank you, Secretary Hegseth. Two questions for you. The Vice President has often emphasized that the goal of this war is to denuclearize Iran while also avoiding a larger quagmire. I know that you touched on this. I'd like you to expand on how do you do that? How do you denuclearize the country while also avoiding this, forever war? And then there was a report last night that the Pentagon asked the White House for $200 billion for Iran war supplemental. Can you confirm this, and can you explain why a package this large is necessary?
Well, first of all, none of this would have been possible without Midnight Hammer, without that audacious mission with very clear goals that did obliterate their ability to enrich and the capabilities they have in those facilities. So it created the conditions for Iran to step forward and say, okay, you can reach out and touch us like that in our nuclear ambitions. You can see that we're still trying to do this. Let's make a deal. And President Trump put our two best folks on it, Steve and Jared, and they worked diligently, earnestly. I watched it to try to pursue that deal. And ultimately, I think the whole time Iran sort of said, well, we'll talk as we build more missiles and as we build more UAVs and we create this conventional umbrella so that if we chose to, we could try to reconstitute the program. And sort of naively thinking that President Trump wouldn't do something about it. And that's why, as Secretary Rubio has said, and I've said, it's the conventional umbrella that was growing and growing and growing that was meant to protect that nuclear capability. So you had to address both what happened with Midnight Hammer and what happened with that as well. As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future, ensure that our ammunition everything's refilled, and not just refilled, but above and beyond. I mean, President Trump, as he said, rebuilt the military in his first term, didn't think he'd use it as dynamically in his second, but he had. So thank goodness he did that. And an investment like this is meant to say, hey, we'll replace anything that was spent. And now that we're reviving our defense industrial base and rebuilding the arsenal of freedom and cutting deals like our great deputy secretaries here is doing, long lead times on exquisite munitions, we're going to be refilled faster than anyone imagined. And I think, we're also still dealing with the environment that Joe Biden created, which was depleting those stockholds and not sending them to our own military, but to Ukraine, which is every time we reach back and look at any sort of a challenge we have, it goes back to, well, send it to Ukraine. Ultimately, we think this should be these munitions are better spent in our own interests at this point, and this kind of funding bill is going to ensure that we're properly funded going forward. We'll take one more right here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jordan Conradson with the Gateway Pundit. So with the strike yesterday on South Pars gas field, if the U.S. didn't know about it or didn't approve of it, it kind of seems like a trend of Israel apparently pursuing their own objectives over U.S. objectives. I'm not sure if you agree with that, but the president has said he doesn't want to hit Iran's oil infrastructure right now. As you said, the U.S. avoided this on Park Island. Oil's nearing $120. Why are we helping Israel prosecute this war if they're going to pursue their own objectives?
We hold the cards. We have objectives. Those objectives are clear. We have allies pursuing objectives as well. And the truth speaks for itself. I mean, President Trump was very clear about that. Iran has weaponized energy for decades. Israel clearly sent a warning, and POTUS has made it clear, very clear. Iran knows when you hit Karg Island and you hit military capabilities on Karg Island, which is the only thing we hit, we can hold anything at issue, anything. The United States military controls the fate of that country. Iran has the ability to make the right choices. It should not, going forward, target Arab allies, Arab countries, trying to create pain, the pain that they created themselves. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Hey you guys, that was interesting. That was interesting. I feel that we need a video that's gonna unite us a little bit more. I have the perfect video. Well, the perfect person for us to listen to. I don't know. This person puts a smile on my face. Which one should we do? Let's go here. Everything I share is for educational purposes. Let's watch. We'll bring you guys in.
Buddy, please. We have a very special person with us tonight,
like
an
it?
amazing person. Tonight, I'm delighted to welcome a great friend and partner for her very first visit to the White House. We've become very close, so close that I endorsed her for her election.
So sweet, you guys.
And she did what? She got the highest number ever gotten by somebody running for the highest position in Japan, beating out a lot of our friends. And it's a tremendous tribute. And that's our really amazing friend, the Japanese Prime Minister, who's going to speak in just a few minutes. But we're very honored to have you with us tonight. Thank you.
また私は最近この選挙において応援のメッセージを送ったんですけども、そこで高市総理は圧巻の勝利を示したということで、それも称えさせていただきたいと思います。
And I want to congratulate the Prime Minister on that unbelievable, all over the world they were talking about it, that victory in last month's election, winning by numbers that, as I said, nobody's ever seen in Japan before.
でまた世界中でもこれは大きな話題となり、高市総理ほどその票を獲得した人は今までいなかったと話題になりました。
And this was not only an amazing political achievement, it was a resounding declaration of strength and confidence, national spirit and resolve straight from the Japanese people who love you.
でまたこの勝利なんですけども、歴史上最大過半数を獲得したということで、これは圧巻の政治的な成果のみならず、力強さ、自信、国の精神と決心というものを国民から勝ち取ったという、これを宣言する結果となりました。
And the Prime Minister's visit comes as we're just days away from the most beautiful season here in Washington, which, by the way, is a crime-free city, just about. And we're very proud of that. We have done a great job, and it's a very safe place that people are coming to in record numbers. And the blooming of the Japanese cherry blossom trees is something very special. For more than a century, this magnificent explosion of pink and white has graced America's capital. I mean, it's been something that really represents Washington so well as a living symbol of the cherished friendships between two of our world's most extraordinary nations.
また総理はちょうど最も美しい時期にここ DC を訪問されています。これは日本の桜の木が満開間近になる時期であります。そしてここで加えさせていただきたいのが、今ここでの DC での犯罪率ゼロということで、非常に安全な場所になっていて、観光客もかなり記録的な数になっています。そして100年以上なんですけども、この桜の木というその爆発的な彩りですね、これを私たちは鑑賞することができました。これは日米の友情の生きている証、象徴であると思います。
And this year we're honored to receive an additional 250 cherry trees, and they're very big, beautiful trees from the great people of Japan in recognition of America's 250th anniversary. And they will remind every future generation of our timeless bond, and they'll be planted near and around the Washington Monument, and it's going to be something very special. They've already started the planting, but it's 250 beautiful specimen trees, and we'll get you over here. We'll check them out after they're planted. We'll get you back.
で、また、今年はアメリカ建国250周年記念ということで、日本からさらに250本の桜の木を寄付していただいています。これは未来の世代にも永遠の私たちの絆を思い起こさせるものになることでしょう。これからワシントンモニュメント、またこの近隣で植樹をする予定ですけども、それが実際に植樹された後に確認をしてまいります。
Americans and Japanese come from opposite sides of the globe. But since the earliest days of commerce between our two countries, we've always recognized that despite obvious differences, we share a great deal in common.
また、日米なんですけども、地球上、全く反対の場所にありますが、昔ながら、その通商というものを行ってまいりました。違いはあれど共通するものも多くあるということが言えます。
Both of our civilizations have been defined and propelled by proud cultures deeply committed to excellence, hard work, and pushing the frontiers of what is possible. That's why in every field, human endeavors from so many different sides of the planet, from medicine to music, from art to engineering, you find that Americans and Japanese are leading the way, always leading the way.
また日米の文明なんですけども、共通するというものは私たちが各々の文化に対して誇りを持っているということ、常に最高を目指すという精神、勤勉であり、また可能性のあるものに対して追求をやめないというところが共通してあります。だからこそ日本とアメリカは医療、音楽、芸術、エンジニアリング、さまざまな分野において世界を牽引しているのです。
These shared traits and values have transcended every trial, history, and you look no matter where you go, you see this, and ultimately made our nations into strong allies and very close friends. Our partnership has made both the United States and Japan stronger, freer, and more successful than virtually any other nation on the planet. And under the leadership of the Prime Minister and myself, I know we will soon make that partnership even stronger and better than ever before. We have that relationship, and actually it started quite a while ago.
また私たちが共通する特性というものは私たちが経験してきた試練をも乗り越えられるほどのものでした。だからこそ私たちの同盟はさらに強く、また緊密な関係を今構築できているわけです。日米のパートナーシップのもと、私たちはより強く自由で成功する国となることができました。高市総理と私のリーダーシップでこれからさらにこの関係を強くできるということを確信しています。
On my visit to Tokyo last year, we reached a historic trade deal that will increase our cooperation on everything from energy to semiconductors and shipbuilding and pharmaceuticals. It was a big one of the biggest deals ever made. The United States is also encouraged to see the steps the Prime Minister is taking to expand her country's commitment to its own security and defense, and buying a lot of our defense equipment, I'm happy to tell you.
また、昨年私が東京を訪問した際に大きな取引を日本と交わしました。ここでエネルギー、半導体、造船、医療に関して協力を拡大するという、最も大きな取引でありました。またそれに加えて今日本が取り組んでいる、高市総理が取り組んでいる自国の防衛安全保障、この進化、強化に取り組んでいることを心強く思っており、そういった面では防衛装備品というものを多く購入していただいていることにも、嬉しく思っております。
So just to close up with the commitment of the leaders and the biggest leaders in the country, some of the most successful people in the country politically and business-wise, and all of the partners in the room, the United States and Japan can be an unstoppable force for freedom, security, and progress for our countries and for the entire world to look up to. So let us stand together with the strength and dignity, purpose. Let us keep our people safe, our nations prospering, and our alliance flourishing for many, many generations to come. And with that, I'd just like to thank the Prime Minister. This is a spectacular woman. and it's an honor to have you with us at the White House. Thank you.
リーダー、パートナーの皆様たち、この世界を代表する力を持っている政治家、ビジネスリーダーの方が多くいます。彼らのコミットメントのもと、日米で自由、安保、国の成長というものを日米のみならず世界にももたらすことができ、私たちは止められない勢力になるということを私は確信しております。ですので、互いに力、尊厳、そして、その意思というものを持って共に立ち並びましょう。そして安全、国の繁栄、同盟の繁栄、増進に向けて取り組んでいきたいと思います。では次に高市総理の方からもお言葉を頂戴したいと思います。
トランプ大統領、ご列席の皆様、はじめにこのビューティフルディナーを開催していただいたことに心から感謝をいたします。
The Honorable President Donald J. Trump, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude for hosting such a beautiful dinner for me and my delegation.
ドナルドの日本への温かい思いや友情に改めてありがとうございます。
Donald, thank you very much for your warm feelings toward Japan and your friendship.
私からは今宵2つのアニバーサリーにお祝いの言葉をお伝えしたいと思います。
So tonight, I would like to start off by extending my sincere congratulations on two important anniversaries.
一つ目は、明日に控えるドナルドのご子息のバロンさんのお誕生日です。立派でイケメンに成長されていると伺っております。
The first one is a birthday celebration. Donald, tomorrow is the birthday of your son, Mr. Baron Trump. And I know he has grown up so much into a very tall, good-looking gentleman.
間違いなくご両親に似たんだと思います。
Donald, it is very clear where he got it. Of course, from his parents, there's no doubt about it.
ぜひ私からのハッピーバースデーをお伝えいただけたら嬉しいです。
So, Donald, if I may ask you, please convey my sincere happy birthday wishes to him.
そして2つ目、はもうさっきドナルドが喋っちゃったんですが、アメリカ建国250周年を今年自由と民主主義の理念を世界に示してきたアメリカがその歴史的節目を迎えるということに日本政府および日本国民を代表して心からお喜び申し上げます。
The second one is the 250th anniversary of the United States, as you rightly mentioned. The United States has long been an icon of freedom and democracy in the world, and this year, the United States is marking a historic milestone. And on behalf of the government and the people of Japan, I would like to extend my deepest congratulations to you and the American people.
そして、8月には250周年を祝う、インディカーレースが、このドナルドの、発案で、ここワシントン DC で開催されると伺っています。
And I understand that in August this year, at Donald's suggestion, IndyCar race, Freedom 250 Grand Prix, will be held here in Washington, D.C.
美しいナショナルモールを絞れと、日本のホンダのエンジンが爆走します。
This race will bring roaring Chevrolet and Honda engines to the National Mall.
そして、インディカーの冠スポンサーは日本企業の NTT でありまして、まさに日米友好のシンボルです。
In addition, Japan's NTT Group has been a title sponsor of the IndyCar series. As you see, IndyCar race is a perfect example of the friendship between Japan and the United States.
偉大なレースの大成功をお祈りします。
So I do hope that you have a huge success at this racing event.
さて、ワシントン DC では日本の桜が長年春の訪れを知らせるとともに日米友好の歴史を体現してきました。
Speaking of our friendship, here in Washington, D.C., Japanese sakura or cherry trees have long been letting us know the arrival of spring, and also it has been a symbol of the history of Japan-US friendship.
これもドナルドがさっき喋っちゃったんですが、今年日本からワシントン DC に250本の桜をプレゼントして250年を祝います。
And this is also something that Donald already mentioned, but I would like to reiterate. This year, Japan extends a gift of additional 250 cherry trees to Washington, D.C. to celebrate America 250.
本当は桜の花束を抱えて、ドナルド、Nice to see you again ってやりたかったんですけれども、米国は検疫が厳しくていきなり花を持ち込めないってことに気がつきました。
Actually, my original plan was to bring so many cherry flowers and directly hand it to you, Donald. But unfortunately, because of the very strict quarantine measures, that I couldn't make this happen.
強い日本、強いアメリカ、豊かな日本、豊かなアメリカ。私たちはこれらを実現するための最強のバディだと確信しています。
A stronger Japan and a stronger America. A more prosperous Japan and a more prosperous America. I am very confident that Donald and I are the best buddies to realize this shared goal.
で、ドナルドと親交が深かった安倍晋三元総理がかつてこのワシントン DC の地で高らかに歌われた言葉を誇りと自信を持ってこの場で皆さんに再びお伝えいたします。
Late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was Donald's dear friend and also my dear friend too, eloquently said one phrase here in Washington, D.C. upon his visit. And as I stand here today, I would like to repeat what he said with greater pride and confidence.
Japan is back. So, 日本は再び世界のイノベーションをリードします。そして新しい日本は世界の平和により一層大きな役割を果たしていきます。
Japan once again will lead the innovation in the world, and the new Japan stands ready to play an even greater role for world's peace.
日本はこの道のりをドナルドと、そしてアメリカ国民の皆様と共に歩んでまいります。
Japan will continue to walk on such path together with Donald and together with the American people.
希望と強さを兼ね備えた日米同盟の新たな歴史の1ページを一緒に作っていこうではありませんか。Thank you.
Let us together create a new chapter in the history of Japan-US alliance, a chapter filled with hope and strength. Thank you very much.
I'm alive, and you're all witnesses. And now that I dispatched this piece of fake news, I want to give you an update on Operation Roaring Lion. Under President Trump's visionary leadership, America and Israel are acting together in Iran with great determination and unprecedented strength. Operation Rising Lion is designed to remove the existential threats posed by the Ayatollah regime, the regime that has waged war against America and Israel and the people of Iran for 47 years. It chants death to America, death to Israel, and it delivers death to its own people. Our goals are three. One, removing the nuclear threat. Second, removing the ballistic missile threat and removing both of these threats before they're buried deep underground and become immune from aerial attack. And third, this means creating the conditions for the Iranian people to grasp their freedom to control their destiny. Today, the Ayatollah regime is not only attacking America, not only attacking Israel, not only attacking the Iranian people, it is attacking the entire Middle East and beyond. They've attacked civilians and American assets in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and they've even attacked through their proxies Cyprus and Europe. We've warned for decades that their ballistic missile program would be used to attack these targets far and wide. And if they're not stopped, that's just the beginning. The death cult in Iran is trying to blackmail the world by closing a key international maritime route, the Straits of Hormuz. It won't work. Israel is helping in its own way, and intel and other means, the American effort to open the Straits of Hormuz, rather. But I want to ask you to imagine how the Ayatollah regime would be able to blackmail the entire world if they had ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads. Just imagine what they would do. Look at what they're doing now and imagine what they would do if they had ballistic missiles, international range ballistic missiles, and nuclear tipped warheads. Just imagine what a great threat that would be. So today, Israel and the United States are protecting America, Israel, the entire Middle East, but I venture to say the entire world. Despite the fake news that is unfortunately being spread since the start of the war 20 days ago, we are winning and Iran is being decimated. Iran's missile and drone arsenal is being massively degraded and will be destroyed. Hundreds of their launchers have been destroyed. Their stockpiles of missiles are being hit hard, and so are the industries that produce them. That's important. In Rising Line, we destroyed missiles and we destroyed a lot of the nuclear infrastructure. But what we're destroying now are the factories that produce the components to make these missiles and to make the nuclear weapons that they're trying to produce. We're wiping out their industrial base in a way that we didn't do before. Iran's air defenses have been rendered useless. Their navy is lying at the bottom of the sea. Today, we hit the other part of their navy in the Caspian Sea. Their air force is nearly destroyed. Iran's command and control structure is in utter chaos. And I can tell you that there's still more work to do, and we're going to do it. And I want to close these opening remarks with one other fake news, and that is that Israel somehow dragged the U.S. into a conflict with Iran. Does anyone really think that someone can tell President Trump what to do? Come on. President Trump always makes his decisions on what he thinks is good for America, and may I add, I think what is also good for future generations. In this case, those interests are absolutely clear, and so is the clarity of our achievements. Together in close coordination with President Trump, the close coordination between America and Israel, our militaries, our intelligence services, we're achieving goals in lightning speed. But I want to say another word. It's been said that for 40 years, I've been saying that Iran is a danger to Israel and a danger to the world. That is true. You know who else said that? President Trump. 47 years ago, when the Iranian thugs took over the American embassy, he said how dangerous this regime is. In his first term in office, he didn't need any convincing. He said the Iranian nuclear deal was the worst deal that he'd ever seen, and he walked out of it. Right before his second term, before he was reelected, I went to see him in Mar-a-Lago. The first thing he said to me was, "Baby, we've got to make sure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons." He said that to me. I didn't say it to him. He didn't need any convincing there either. Now, why did he say that? Because for more than 4 decades, This regime, as I said in the beginning of my remarks, is chanting death to Israel, death to America. But they say Israel is only the small Satan standing in their way. The great Satan is the United States of America. And these ideological fanatics, these lunatics, define their raison d'etre, their reason for being, is wiping out Western civilization and America that leads it. They have claimed the lives, they've maimed and wounded thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan. They killed the American Marines in Beirut. They bombed your embassies. They tried to assassinate the American president, Donald Trump, not once, but twice. Now they blackmail for oil. Just imagine what they would do, what they're capable of doing, if these lunatics had nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to every American city and every European city and everywhere around the globe. This is a danger for the entire world. It's certainly a danger for Israel. It's certainly a danger for America. We see eye to eye on that. President Trump and I, Israel and America. But I think if people are honest, if leaders are honest, they would understand that we're not only fighting our fight, we're fighting their fight. I speak to dozens of world leaders, dozens. They all know that. And privately, they all say that. They say that privately, but I say it publicly. The world owes a debt of deep indebtedness to President Trump for leading this effort to safeguard our future.
Thank
Questions?
you. We'll now take a few questions. The first question is from Zach Anders from Newsmax.
Mr. Prime Minister, Zach Anders, Newsmax.
You guys, I don't know what happened to the volume here. It just went quiet. What happened? Okay, let me see. Okay. The volume just there.
Not acting.
Why did it go
What do you
quiet like
think
that?
would have happened
Hold on, this is
if America did not act now?
Okay. Sorry.
Point.
I guess it's
It is
back
often
there.
said that you can't do revolutions from the air. That is true. You can't do it only from the air. You can do a lot of things from the air, and we're doing, but there has to be a ground component as well. There are many possibilities for this ground component, and I take the liberty of not sharing with you all those possibilities.
Would you recognize Pahlavi if the people keep chanting for him in the streets?
Well, I'm not going to say who specifically is going to be there, but I think he's been a force for good. He's been trying to get the people to unite for a transitional government, a democratic transitional government, or a moderate transitional government. I hope that it comes to being. I think it's too early to say.
Next question from Richard Engel from NBC News.
Good to see you again.
Maybe because it's foreign. Okay, let me see. We have another quiet spot. Hang on, you guys. Let me see.
Just imagine what would have happened. In a few months' time, no more than a year, Khamenei, still alive, would have ordered the beginnings of the new nuclear program and the reconstructed ballistic missile program to move underground. Now, it'll take them a little time, maybe a few years, but you can't reach those programs. And they develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, okay? That means missiles that can hit Chicago and New York and Florida and Texas and California. Oh, but they don't have it yet. That's what people said. Right, let's wait. Well, just let them do it, just wait and let them do it. You won't be able to do it. It's the last moment. No, it takes a little time. I mean, you had a few months to prevent them from doing it and to just decimate these industries. and perhaps achieve this transitional government in Iran. So you'd sit back and you say, well, it's not going to happen in the next Thursday, so let's not act. I tell you that there's enormous risk in not acting, much greater risk than acting. And if you think that the oil markets are in trouble today, think of Iran with nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. And then think of the blackmail that you would endure.
I didn't exactly ask, however.
Okay, we're going to go to the next question.
No, I think it's only fair. This is a serious subject.
What is this? What is it?
One question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, ask.
There are oil fields around the world that are burning. Gas prices are going up. The war is popular here in Israel. Is not popular with many Americans. My question was, how do you see this ending? Not why, not even when. What do you imagine the day after?
Well, we have achievable goals, and I'm not going to speak about the full battle plans that we have with the United States. We're well coordinated with them. I will say this, that once we achieve our goals, then I have argued, I think, and Americans understand this very well because we're real partners. I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes. Instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and the Bab el-Mandeb Straits, in order to have the flow of oil, just have oil pipelines, gas pipelines, going west through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports, and you've just done away with the choke points for forever. That is definitely possible. So I see that as a real change that will follow this war. But I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think. I think you have to, in war, you have to grit your teeth. Churchill said that democracies suffer from the slumber of democracies, as he called it. And they only wake up, he said, they may wake up only when they hear the gong, the jarring gong of danger, is the way he put it. Well, you're hearing the jarring gong of danger. The jarring gong of danger is Iran gets nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. That's not a jarring gong. That is an apocalypse. Don't let it happen. And the function of leaders is to stand and tell people the truth, even when things are uncomfortable. That's what you have to do. And you don't always see the danger in time, but leaders are tasked with the task of seeing danger in time and acting on it. And I hope that in time, people will see the wisdom and the courage of President Trump's decision and his leadership, and the fact that we're working together. America is not fighting for Israel. America is fighting with Israel for a common goal, to protect our future, to protect civilization against these barbarians.
Next question, one question, Guy Azriel from I-24 News.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Guy Azriel, I-24 News. President Trump said today he did not like the Israeli strike on the Iranian gas fields. My question to you, was the president aware of Israel striking that gas field? Did you approve it? And please, if you may, do you see any signs that the Iranian regime is collapsing? And what assurances do you give the Israeli public that if it does stand on its feet, we will not see another wave of a war with Iran in maybe 5 or 10 years?
Well, I'll say two things. Fact number one, Israel acted alone against the Slawiya gas compound. Fact number two, President Trump asked us to hold off on future attacks, and we're holding out. What do we see? What happens if are there any signs that the Iranian regime is cracking? A lot of signs. A lot of signs. I wish I could divulge all of them, but I see that. But will I tell you, will I commit right now that it's going to collapse? I can tell you that we're working to create the conditions for it to collapse, but it may survive, it may not. If it survives, it'll be a lot weaker. There's no comparison. It'll be at its weakest point, shorn of industries that it built over decades, death industries, shorn of many other capabilities that they have, and equipped with the experience, with the knowledge that if they try it again, they'll be hit again even harder. I cannot tell you of the technological developments that we are engaged in to anticipate this and other possibilities. But Israel has shown that it can do wondrous things. And in partnership with our American allies, we can do amazing things, amazing things. As Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, said, these are the two most amazing air forces in the world. It's the two most amazing intelligence services in the world. It has the capabilities to confront these barbarians and to outstrip them, both in innovation and when necessary in lethality. It's directed, it's targeted lethality. It's going against the killers and as much as possible to avoid civilian casualties. We have those capacities. We're building them for the future. That is what safeguards the future. You know, if people want to be naive, that they don't see the kind of world we're living in. In this world, it's not enough to be moral. It's not enough to be just. It's not enough to be right. You know, one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, someone that I admire a lot, was the historian Will Durant. Now, he wrote many volumes. I read most of them. He also wrote The Lessons of History, very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now. The fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period and the historic struggle that we are engaged in now, doesn't obviate these truths. We have to be strong. We have to be armed. We have to be more powerful than the barbarians, or they will not be merely at the gate. They'll crash our gates and destroy our societies. That's what Israel is doing now with the United States. And I'm very proud of the fact that the Israeli people are standing strong, that the Israeli army is standing strong. We rose from October 7th. Our people, our soldiers rose like lions. But in protecting ourselves and in joining with our great American friends, we're also protecting the entire world.
Thank you. Next question, Tom Burridge from ABC News.
Sure. Hi, Tom Sufi Burridge, ABC News. Prime Minister, given the escalation of attacks on US allies across the Gulf, given the spiraling energy costs, the high costs in general, the US service personnel killed in this war, many Americans are asking that question, whether you misled their government into starting this war, and for how long should Americans keep paying the price?
Well, I misled no one, and I didn't have to convince President Trump about the need to prevent Iran from developing its nuclear program, putting it underground, and being able to launch nuclear-tipped missiles at the United States. He understood that. He explained it to me. I didn't explain it to him. And I think that our partnership is the only way to avoid this catastrophic development. The loss of servicemen is painful. Early on in my military service, a fellow soldier died in my arms. I lost a brother who fought terrorists, led the historic Entebbe rescue. The cost to bereaved families is enormous, and I sympathize and send the condolences of the people of Israel to these families and to the American people. Freedom is precious. It has its costs. But if you're not prepared to defend it, if you're not prepared to resist the tyrannies that are trying to arm themselves with the weapons of mass death, you will have no future. And therefore, we're doing what we can. As far as oil prices rising, spikes, you know what a spike is? You know what a spike is? It goes up and goes down. The Americans are working very hard, and we're trying to help them in every way that we can to open the straits of Hormuz. And if they succeed, which I think they will, then oil prices will come down. But if you say, all right, I'm suffering right now, and people are, then I shouldn't do anything. I just succumb to the blackmail, let Iran get on with it, let them develop nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to New York and Los Angeles. You're going to be blackmailed in ways that you can't even imagine. I think what this war has done is unmask what Iran is. You know, we've said for years, look at these people. They're doing things that normal regimes do not do. I don't hear even adversaries of the United States chanting death to America, death to the great Satan, massacring tens of thousands of their own people at will like that in 2 days. You have that sometimes. But the combination of fanaticism, deep ideological lunacy, there's no other way to call it, the total and utter ruthlessness of this regime makes it uniquely dangerous not only to Israel and to the United States, but to everything in between and far beyond. And the fact that this is not recognized, you ask me, okay, what do people think? What did they think in the 30s? What did they think in the 30s when you had a terrible, ruthless, killer regime led by a lunatic that took one country after the other, did it very sequentially? What did they say? They said what? They said, let's stay out of this. It's not our war. It's not our problem. Maybe it's only the Jews. Have we learned nothing, absolutely nothing in these 80 years? We cannot see the danger that lurks. It doesn't lurk. It's risen from the mud. It's right in our face. It's splattering blood right at us. I can't believe that we're clueless. We're not clueless. I talk to many American friends. They're not clueless. They understand this. Some don't. Some are adamantly opposed, but many are adopting a wait-and-see attitude. But I can tell you that I've spoken, as I said a minute ago, I've spoken to many, many leaders. We're talking about dozens and dozens of leaders. And they all say the same thing. I understand it. Some of them come out and say it. They're bold. And some of them say, I don't know, I wish I understand it, but some of my people don't, or my news media are against me and so on. I was glad to see in the United States that an enormous enormous percentage of President Trump's supporters, traditional supporters, understand it. And I hope that my friends and colleagues of many years on the other side of the aisle, those who understand and agree with what I just said, and there are quite a few of them, have the courage to come out and say it. Because at the end, what is the task of leaders if you're a leader? The most important thing is to assure the security of your people. And that means identifying danger in time and acting against it. That is a prerequisite for the survival of any biological organism. You have to identify danger in time and act in time against it. You either fight or flight. These are the two options you have. Where can you flee? Nowhere, because Iran can reach any part of the world. So you have to, at a certain point, fight. And this is the juncture where we've reached in time, not too late, but in time. I just will encourage all those who agree with what President Trump is saying, with what I'm saying, to act. I didn't have to convince President Trump of anything. He didn't need any convincing. He acted as a great leader does to protect his country and to protect the future.
Thank you. Next question, Alex Trayman from JNS. JNS, right behind you, yes.
Mr. Prime Minister, Hezbollah has opened up another front against Israel, launching rockets against Israeli civilians. Now ground troops are inside Lebanon. Is there any hesitancy toward launching a full ground operation to eradicate Hezbollah? And what would eradicating Hezbollah do to transform Israel-Lebanon relations and the greater Middle East?
Look, Alex, I can't divulge our battle plans. Obviously, Hezbollah is not what Hezbollah had been. I said in my opening remarks in Hebrew that they were talking about 150,000 rockets and missiles that they had, ballistic missiles. They had thousands of Ridwan terrorists right next to our fence underground, ready to invade. And we knocked them back. We destroyed the bulk of their missile capacity in 6 hours. We knocked out Nasrallah. We destroyed all the Hamas, or rather all the Ridwan infrastructure right next to our border. We now have a security corridor, a security zone that is there that prevents this kind of invasion. And we have plans for the future. Obviously, our number one effort is geared towards Iran. If the regime goes, you know that Hezbollah goes. But in any case, we're devising our plans in such a way that we could remove this threat as well.
Thank you. Final question from Jeremy Diamond at CNN.
Mr. Prime Minister, Jeremy Diamond, CNN. Nice to see you. You've assassinated Iran's supreme leader and dozens of other senior Iranian officials. The result of that so far has been the appointment of a new supreme leader considered to be even more hardline than his father. The Iranian regime is not showing any signs of collapse as of now. So I wonder, what do you say to those who say that killing those individuals is in fact empowering the hardliners in Iran? And are you confident that your strategy will still lead to regime change? And then secondly, if I may, you've also indicated today that you made a commitment to President Trump not to strike these oil and gas facilities in the future. Should President Trump come to you one day and say, oil prices are too high, it's time to end this war, will you listen to him? And do you need the United States in order to continue this campaign alone?
Was that a single question? Jeremy, you really hogged it, but I'll answer your questions. I'm not sure who's running Iran right now. Mujtaba, the replacement Ayatollah, has not shown his face. Have you seen him? We haven't. And we can't vouch exactly what is happening there. There is a cloud here that's not clear. What we see is that there's a lot of tensions inside the people who are edging for the top. It's not a uniform position. You see that sometimes with the contradictory orders that are given. You know, they do one thing and then they withdraw it and so on. I think it's important that they know that if they think they're going to target the world, target the President of the United States and so on, they themselves are being targeted. That creates a lot of uncertainty. We've found that can have an effect. The removal of Nasrallah has never been really been replaced, because some people are not replaceable. I think the authority and the hold that Khamenei has had is not going to be translated to anyone, not to Mujtaba if he's there, and not to anyone else. But I think this is part of the effort to crack the regime. It's not going to happen in one day. We're 20 days into this war. Yes, we're seeing cracks. We're seeing cracks, and we're trying to propagate them as fast as we can. Not only in the top command, we're seeing cracks in the field. It's sort of like a hollowed out, rotten piece of wood that's holding on the outside, but there's a lot of rot inside. We're seeing some defections. We're seeing fear and trepidation in the IRGC units that are manning the ballistic missiles. You know why? Because they're afraid to die. They're not all suicidal. In fact, most of them are not. So we're seeing cracks, but we're going to hit them again and again. The minimum thing we want to do is, again, erase the industrial capacity that they had to produce these weapons. They'll have to build it from a start, and that's very hard. It's very hard to do underground, too. So they're not going to be able to just take the pieces and move them below the earth. It's going to be a lot harder for them. But ideally, if it cracks enough, and with some other things that I won't get into, yes, the regime could change. Is it guaranteed? No. And is it up to the Iranian people in the final accounting to make use of the conditions that we're doing in weakening this regime. We'll see. I cannot tell you. They're very brave, by the way. I don't come and criticize them in any way. I think they're very brave. I think they've suffered enormously. And the question is, will we have a meeting ground between the weakening of the regime and the rising of the people in many ways that could develop? We'll see. On the oil and gas questions, I can only tell you this. Look, I don't think any two leaders have been as coordinated as President Trump and I. He's the leader. I'm, his ally. America is the leader. Israel is, as the National Security Memorandum described us, I think a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I think, something like that. They called Israel the model ally. That's how they call it, the model ally. It's not a superpower, but America is seeking around the world, and you hear it from the speeches of President Trump and others in the administration. They say, where are you? We've helped you all these years. Where are you when we're doing something that is as important, at least as important for you as it is important for us? And yet one country is there. And against all the vilifications that are leveled at Israel, Israel is sponging off America and all that. No, it's not. It's not. Israel is a brave country, a resolute country with an incredible army, incredible soldiers, incredible courage. And we're fighting alongside the United States when the chips are down. We're fighting with the United States. We're fighting for a common goal. So I can tell you that that's the most important coordination. But in practice, President Trump and I speak regularly. We discuss things. Our staffs discuss things. Our militaries are in close coordination as never before. But ultimately, President Trump makes his own decisions. And do I respect them? Yes, I do.
The question is whether you would or could continue the war without.
Just one question, Jeremy. Thank you.
Would you without the United States? Without the refueling capabilities, for example?
We're going to thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
You
Thank
exhausted
you,
your
everyone,
questions.
for your questions today. Thank you, everyone.
תושבי הצפון הם גיבורים. תושבי הצפון עומדים כרגע במעמסה הקשה. כל אזרחי ישראל עומדים במעמסה קשה. אבל הם עומדים במעמסה קשה במיוחד, משום שזמן ההתראה שלהם הוא הכי קצר. ואנחנו מתכוונים לעזור להם בכל דרך, אבל בסוף העזרה הכי גדולה זה להרחיק ולהסיר את האיום, ואנחנו לא נוותר על זה.
Thank you so much.
ואנחנו לא
We're
נוותר
going to
על
be
זה.
concluding now.
תודה
Thank
רבה
you,
לכם.
Mr. Prime Minister. Thank you.
Did you guys like that? That was a lot. Hang on. Israel predates Palestine by over 1,000. Oh, y'all saying a lot. Uh-oh. Playing. Hang on, guys. I got you once again. It's here. Dang it. Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you, Doc. I am so sorry, guys. I don't know what is happening right now with my video. Something is going on. Mm. These, I don't know where that's coming from. I think it's this one.
Very proud and honored to endorse the Prime Minister because of the fact that I felt she was really good. I thought she did a fantastic job. I respect her a lot, so I gave her an endorsement. And she had the most successful election, in my opinion, in the history of Japan, won by the most ever. So we have a very popular, powerful woman. And she's a great woman. We have a very fine relationship, and we're going to be talking about trade and many other things. And it's an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
皆様ありがとうございます。本日は非常に特別な方にいらしていただいております。歴史的な選挙の圧勝ということで、私と共通するものがあると思います。私たち素晴らしい絆を持っておりまして、だからこそ私の方からも応援のメッセージを出させていただきました。素晴らしい人であり、私も心から尊敬している方です。日本の歴史上、最も素晴らしい選挙で圧勝したということで、人気の高い女性であり、すごい方だと私も思っております。本日に関しては、貿易、その他の課題について多く話をする予定です。
Thank you, Donald, for inviting me to the White House today.
Thank you.
So, my visit is timely. So, given the current situation, so.
Oh, please, yes,
Okay,
absolutely. You have a very good interpreter.
Yeah.
Who I've known for,
Your friend.
who I've known
Your
for a long
friend.
time with Shinzo.
Your
Right?
friend. 今中東情勢も含めて、それから世界中の安全保障環境が非常に厳しい状況にあります。
Right now, situations in the Middle East and also the entire world, we are actually experiencing a very severe security environment.
そして世界経済もかなり厳しい影響を受けつつあります。
And also the global economy is now about to experience a huge hit because of this development.
でも私は世界の繁栄とそして平和に貢献できる世界中に平和と繁栄をもたらせるのはドナルドだけだと思っています。
But even against that backdrop, I firmly believe that it is only you, Donald, who can achieve peace across the world.
そのために私は諸外国に働きかけてしっかりと応援をしたいと思っています。
And to do so, I am ready to reach out to many of the partners in the international community to achieve our objective together.
今日私はそれを伝えに来ました。
So today, I came here at the White House to directly convey this message to you.
そしてイランに関してはもう核兵器の開発、これは許されてはならないことですから日本も働きかけをしてきました。
And speaking of the situation in Iran, Iran's development of nuclear weapons must never be allowed. And that is why we, Japan, have been urging them and also reaching out to other partners in the world.
そして我が国は周辺国に対する攻撃、ホルムズ海峡の実質的な閉鎖についてもこれは非難をし、そして茂木外務大臣からもイランの外務大臣に対してそれをやめるように申し入れをしてきました。
In addition, Japan condemns Iran's actions such as attacking the neighboring region and also the de facto or effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz. As a matter of fact, my fellow minister, Minister Motegi, Foreign Minister Motegi, also had the direct exchange with the Iranian foreign minister and urged Iran to stop such activities.
Yeah, you'll let me know. You'll let me know.
それで、とにかく今、中東だけじゃなくてインド太平洋の安全保障環境も大変厳しい中にあります。そんな中でドナルドが日本に深い信頼を寄せてくれて、で揺るぎない同盟にコミットメントしてくれていることに感謝をいたしております。
And also the security environment in the Indo-Pacific region is also becoming increasingly severe. Donald, you have shown deep trust in Japan and also the unwavering commitment to the Japan-US alliance. Once again, thank you very much for that.
今日は日本とアメリカが共に強く豊かになっていくための話し合いをしたいと思っています。
And today, I look forward to having a discussion on how we can cooperate to make our two nations, both Japan and the United States, stronger and more prosperous.
それから世界のエネルギーマーケットを落ち着かせるための提案も持ってまいりました。
And I also brought specific proposals to calm down the global energy market.
この後、主に、経済安全保障、重要鉱物ですとかエネルギーに関する協力、そしてお互いに強い経済を作るための、成長のための話し合い、経済成長のための話し合いをしたいと思っています。Thank you, Donald.
So today, I really look forward to having our discussion, particularly focusing on our collaboration in economic security in the important areas such as energy and rare earth minerals. And also, I look forward to discussing with you how we can make our two economies stronger moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you're doing a great job. Again, congratulations on the biggest win in the history of Japan. That's not bad. That's a pretty long history. That's a large nation with a great reputation, but it's a tremendous victory. Congratulations to everybody. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. We've become friends, and I'm very proud of the job you've done. It's not easy. Any questions, please?
Sir, Mr. President, are you fully satisfied with the level of support that you're getting from Japan on Iran, including around the minesweepers?
Well, we're going to be speaking about it today. Go ahead, you can go.
日本から平井邸などの支援に関して、その点について今の状況に満足していらっしゃいますか？
We're going to be speaking about it today. We've had tremendous support and relationship with Japan on everything. And I believe that based on statements that were given to us yesterday, the day before yesterday, having to do with Japan, they are really stepping up to the plate. Yes.
非常に日本政府から素晴らしい支援を受けていると思います。おとといのコメントから、日本からはそれに対して非常に力強いメッセージを得ていると私は思っています。
Unlike NATO.
NATO とは全く違いますね。
Please.
Mr. President, do you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops, and we will do whatever is necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this, look, the Dow just hit 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. They said that couldn't happen for 4 years. It wouldn't happen in my term. It's such an outrageous thing because I said it would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but it just hit 50,000, and we did that in 1 year, not 4. S&P had just hit 7,000. They said that was even more impossible than the Dow hitting 50. And we did that in 1 year. So it was all done. Everything was going great. The economy was great. Oil prices were very low. Gasoline was dropping to, we had $1.99, $1.85. We had great everything. And I saw what was happening in Iran. And I said, I hate to make this excursion, but we're going to have to do it. And I actually thought the numbers would be worse. I thought that it would go up more than it did. But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world. And the Prime Minister agrees with me on this. She considers it to be terrible what Iran did. I think every country does, just about every country does. Iran is a serious threat to the world, to the Middle East and to the world. And everybody agrees with me. I think virtually every country agrees with me on that. So I wanted to put out that fire. And I said, if I do that, oil prices will go up, the economy will go down a little bit. I thought it would be worse, much worse, actually. I thought there was a chance it could be much worse. It's not bad, and it's going to be over with pretty soon. We've obliterated their Navy. We've obliterated just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us. They have, and as you know, their leadership is gone. Their leaders are gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. And now they're looking for new leaders again. We can take out the island anytime we want. I call it the little oil island that sits there, so totally unprotected. And we've taken out everything but the pipes. We left the pipes because to rebuild the pipes would take years for them to do. But I would say we are substantially ahead of schedule. And I had to do this. I call it an excursion. I had to take this little excursion and do something that no other president had the courage to do. And everybody wanted to do it, but they never had the courage to do it. And I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them. It was left to me, and we've done a great job. Our military is incredible. We have an incredible military. We have the strongest military in the world by far. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. In fact, Japan buys our equipment, buys a lot of it, and we're honored by that. And that's one of the things we'll be talking. They want to buy a lot of the military equipment. So it's just an honor to have the Prime Minister. We've had a tremendous relationship. Okay.
Mr. President,
I think she's going to have to go first before you. Is that okay? Do you understand? It's very good. I'll tell you. It's so nice that we don't have to sit. No, it's very good. I haven't picked up your language, so the next time you come, I'll have your language mastered. All right, go ahead.
The war is almost over. Why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious. But we want to do. Don't forget, Biden gave away. I rebuilt the military in my first term. Biden gave away so stupidly to Afghanistan a lot. He didn't want to move it. He was too lazy, too stupid to move it. But it was a very small amount. It was a lot, but it was very small relative to what I purchased and what I built. We want to have vast amounts of ammunition, which we have right now. We have a lot of ammunition, but it was taken down by giving so much to Ukraine. They gave so much. Biden gave $350 billion worth of cash and military equipment to Ukraine, and he didn't rebuild anything. Fortunately, we have a lot. We have a tremendous, unlimited supply of what you'd call middle and upper middle armaments and military equipment, munitions, armaments, but munitions in particular. At the high end, we have a lot, but we're preserving it. We don't really need it, but we're building. Our manufacturers of military equipment are building at a level they've never seen before. They've never done before. Pete's in charge of it with all of us, really. But Pete's been very, very strong on it. The general and Pete, myself, the whole group. And Raytheon is building 4 factories. Lockheed is building 5 or 6 factories, and they're building them fast because we had a very tough meeting with them. They were going out and buying back stock for $51 billion in one case. They spent $51 billion buying back stock. Now they're not allowed to do that. And they are now building a tremendous, there's never been anything like it, what's taking place right now. So we're in very good shape, but we want to be in the best shape we've ever been in. We were that, when I rebuilt the military, we were in great shape, and then Biden blew it, and he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. And if you listen to the Democrats, they don't even want to have a military. Now you see how important it is. But we have the strongest military in the world. We have the best equipment. We make by far the best equipment. The other night, they had 114 rockets shot at a certain location. And out of 100 highly sophisticated rockets, out of 114 sophisticated rockets, every single one of them was shot down with our equipment. All our equipment. It's amazing, actually, how good it is. So we want to be sure, and it's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy top.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, you
Thank you,
said.
Mr. President. The Treasury Secretary this morning said there were defections among Iranian leadership. Are you aware of that? And is there anybody the U.S. can work with as a leader going forward?
Well, we have a man named the Treasury Secretary here, so maybe he wants to discuss it. Does anybody know? Do you know who he is? Central Casting.
Yeah, so Ed, we are seeing the defections at all levels as they're starting to sense what's going on with the regime. It doesn't get reported here in the U.S. very well, but we are trouncing them from the air, and the regime will probably collapse within itself. At Treasury, we've seen where they've wired their money out of the country. We're coming for that. We're going to get it back to the Iranian people.
Mr. You're seeing defections?
Israel.
There's a lot of military defections also. You have a lot of military defections in Iran. I don't blame them.
Thank you, Mr. President. Have you talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu about attacking the oil and gas fields?
Yeah, I did. I told him, don't do that. And he won't do that. We didn't discuss. We do, we're independent, we get along great. It's coordinated, but on occasion he'll do something, and if I don't like it, and so we're not doing that anymore.
And the last one, if I could, the Fed chairman told me yesterday that he plans to stay until a new Fed chairman is confirmed. And he also plans to stay on the board until the investigation of the Federal Reserve is done.
Well, he's under investigation because he's building a building for hundreds of billions of dollars more than it's supposed to cost. The building you see over there is under budget and ahead of schedule. That's the ballroom. The ballroom is a much bigger building. It's a much more complex building than what he's doing, and it's at a fraction of the cost. Something is going on, whether it's contractors. That's what I do best in the world. I build great buildings. I've always done it, and I build them under budget and ahead of schedule. They could have $4 billion. This is a renovation job for $4 billion. And if you look at the building, it's not even, I don't know if Kevin Warsh is ever going to be able to move into it. It's been under construction for years. It's the most expensive building ever built. Now, I know it's gross incompetent because I happen to think he's grossly incompetent. Today, certainly you should be lowering interest rates, all right? Certainly, who would not lower them? But he's stubborn, and he's got Trump derangement syndrome. But a lot of people have that, it's not a curable disease. But he's also building, he should be lowering rates immediately. But he won't do that because he's a stubborn, incompetent person. And that's a bad thing. When you're stubborn and incompetent, I think it's the worst combination. And he's also not a smart person. But he's building a complex over there that's under his jurisdiction. He started it, and it's out of control. It's billions of dollars for a little building. I could have done that building and made it beautiful for $25 million. $25 million, and it would have been beautiful. Look what I've done at the White House, fixing it up. And I mean, the place was in bad shape. You see the floors and everything. It was in bad shape. I could have made that building beautiful for $25 million. They're spending $4 billion. All right. So there is criminality. Maybe it's with the contractor, but because I know more about contractors than any human being maybe that's ever lived. But that contractor is a very rich man. Whoever the contractor is, and we know, but whoever the contractor is an extremely rich man. He's going to make, he could make millions of dollars. I'm hearing numbers from $3 to $4 billion. That would make it the most expensive building on a square foot basis ever built in history. And you're not even building a building, it's a renovation. The exterior skin is staying, the steel is staying, the structure. So all I want to do is bring out to the public that this guy is an incompetent, he's a very incompetent guy, and he may be a dishonest guy, but somebody's dishonest because there's no way that building can be $3 to $4 billion.
Mr. President, on a straight of work, President.
Thank you.
Please.
Mr. President, you just mentioned Japan.
This looks like one of your people. Right here. So,
Thank you.
Is he good or bad? Good. Is he a good reporter or bad? As you know?
So.
Not a, all right, he looks like a nice guy. Go ahead.
Mr. President, you just mentioned Japan is stepping up. What kind of support do you expect from Japan in the future?
Look, I expect Japan to step up because, we have that kind of relationship, and we step up with Japan. We have 45,000 soldiers in Japan. We spend a lot of money on Japan, and we've had that kind of a relationship. So I'm not surprised that they would step up. We don't need much. We don't need anything. I mean, honestly, we don't need anything from Japan or from anyone else, but I think it's appropriate that people step up. In the case of Japan, I hear they get more than 90% of their oil through the strait. So that's a big reason to step up. I mean, we've demolished, that country is close to demolished. The only thing is the strait. It's very hard. You could take two people and they could drop little bombs in the water and they're holding things up. We don't want that to happen. But honestly, Japan, China, Europe, parts of Europe get a lot of their oil through the strait. We get none practically. We're less than 1%. We don't have to be any percent. We don't even, I think we do it just to be nice. But we think of it, we don't use the strait. We're defending the strait for everybody else. And then in the case of NATO, they don't want to help us defend the strait, and they're the ones that need it. But now they're getting much nicer because they're seeing my attitude. They're getting much nicer. But it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's too late. UK wants to send aircraft carriers now. And I said, I want the aircraft carriers before the war. I don't want them after the war is won. They want to send me aircraft carriers after the war. There's practically nobody to shoot at them. Their missile count is down, Pete. Maybe you could discuss it by about 90-something%. The drones are way down, and the factories are being demolished. Maybe.
Yes, sir. Our missiles being shot are down over 90% since the beginning. One-way attack drones down 90% since the beginning, which is a reflection of overwhelming firepower. But you mentioned the most important part, Mr. President. Their defense industrial base. If you can't make more of it in the future, then you have a limited supply. And so we're going after all of their defense contractors that make all of their exquisite weapons and ensuring that even if they wanted to rebuild more launchers or more missiles, they couldn't in the future. And that's a level of devastation for their military that they've never seen before.
So we have, in literally 2 weeks, we've demolished their Navy, their Air Force. All technology is gone. All communication is gone. And all of the leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well. Okay, how about one more question for the Prime Minister? Let me pick a beautiful person from Japan. A question for the Prime Minister. Go ahead. Yeah. Sure. Oh, he doesn't believe he's beautiful. Oh, he sounded shy.
With Japanese people, of course, now Japan and US are very good friends. But one question: why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. When we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? He's asking me. No, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right? Okay, one more for the Prime Minister.
Mr.
please.
President.
Are you gonna for the Prime Minister?
Yes, and
Go ahead, for the
you
Prime
too.
Minister.
Thank you very much. Japan's TJ Press. Japan's biggest concern is China. Now they're giving us export control and very harsh terms to criticize us. So could you plan? Will you plan to bring out relationship between Japan and China while you're there?
Yeah, well, I'll be going to China very quickly, but I think I'd really like to have the Prime Minister talk about China because I know they have a little bit of an edgy relationship, and I'd just like to know where it stands, how you're doing with China. So, please.
で、日本はいつも中国に対してオープンです。会話はオープンにしています。それから、冷静に対応しています。で、とにかく米中関係も含めてですね、これが地域の安定、それから世界のサプライチェーン、これに貢献するものであることを願っています。日本は常にオープンです。
So first of all, Japan has been consistently open to dialogue with China. And also, second, we have been addressing our relations with China in a calm manner. And also speaking of the US-China relationship, my sincere hope is that the relationship will be something conducive for regional security and also ensuring the global supply chain in the world. Once again, I would like to reiterate that Japan has been consistently open to dialogue with China.
And I think we're going to have a great trip. The trip has been postponed for about a month and a half. It's been reset, and we look forward to it. And I'll be speaking Japan's praises when I'm in China with President Xi. But we're going to have some good talks today. And I think mostly about trade, because they want to do a lot of trade. They're a tremendous purchaser of our energy, our oil, gas from, in particular, Alaska. Because Alaska, believe it or not, is very close. It's much closer than any other source. It seems a little cold compared to, but it's just a short trip.
So that's something that we will talk after the press corps leaves.
We'll be discussing trade, and a lot of the talk will be about energy. Thank you very much, everybody. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
This is a big one if you're into.
Okay, you guys. How are you guys doing? Are we still friends? You guys, that was a lot. The one thing that we all have in common in this room is that Donald J. Trump is our president. He's all of our president. And for the next 3 years, we'll have that in common. So I am praying for this country. I'm praying for you guys. Steve Maddock, you said you love Trump? Eric, I wasn't asleep. I wasn't sleeping. I'm awake. Damage. It's okay. It's okay. But I will be back later. I love you guys. Thank God, not mine. Donald Trump is all of our president. I thought that was great. I love that with Japan, and we heard from Hexath and all these things. So, all right, you guys, I love you. Damage, good to see you. I'm going to only say something. Dems need 2 votes to impeach and remove. No sitting president has been removed from office. And I don't know why you guys are so pressed about Donald Trump. I don't know. But maybe one day you guys can tell me. Maybe one day you guys can articulate your thoughts and tell me what you don't like about Donald Trump. You can always hit my link and have a conversation with me. Okay? Other than that, you're just angry in the chat, and I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. But anyways, there's a lot that's going on. I'll be back later to talk about Iran and other things that's going on, you guys. Feel free to get in my comment section and leave me a comment if you want me to cover something in particular. Jerome. Hey, Jerome. Why did he mention racist president? What makes him racist? What makes Donald Trump racist? What makes Donald Trump racist, you guys? Use your words. I'm a black woman talking about Donald Trump. I just cover the news. Nonpartisan, non-biased. I just cover the news and what's happening in the world. You know, no country has open borders. Donald Trump is doing what the American people has elected him to do. Whether you like him or dislike him, we still have that in common, that Donald Trump is our president. So I prefer not to be angry for the next few years. I think that Donald Trump, for him to be in office for a little over a year, he's accomplished a lot. Now, some of you don't agree with the war in Iran, and some of you understand why we're here today and what Donald Trump is doing. And some of you do. Some of you understand it. You're brainwashed by right-wing media, not brainwashed. Mercy. Eric, you furious? Trump hasn't done ish for the country. Why am I wearing a headband right now? Why are you wearing a headband? Atomic Rooster, some people would disagree with you. Donald Trump has done a lot for the country. Again, I'm always available for you guys to hit a link and talk to me. Well, not tonight. Don't do it tonight. But thank you, me too. I appreciate you. So that's what's going on. Take my blinders off, Sally. Blind about what? What am I blind about? Do you guys think this war will be over anytime soon? What's going on with that? He was elected president. All of you communist wannabes get over it. Ooh, Jeffrey Taylor came in hot. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm not sure that's how you spell Kool-Aid. Wait. I'm trying. Look, Dr. Madden. I like to talk to you guys, so my allergies is cutting up. I like to talk to you guys. I don't like Donald Trump being called racist because I think that word is thrown around a lot. And some of you that's calling Donald Trump racist don't like when blacks use that. Aren't you guys tired of that word? It's not Donald Trump is racist. Everybody's racist now. I thought you guys were moving away from that so much. I just think that word is overused. Save the word racist for racist people, okay? Not just because you don't like somebody. Why would I cover somebody that's racist? Are we still friends, Claude? Dr. Mahan says, y'all realize we were much closer to World War III during the Cold War. Talk about it. He's not racist. Marco, do you guys feel Donald Trump is racist? I should have just asked you guys. You guys feel MAGA is racist? You are racist? You guys are changing the rules. Didn't you say that black women can't be racist or blacks can't be racist? Some of you. I don't agree with that. But MAGA is racist. I'm not about to argue with you guys about who's racist or who's not racist. Sally said no blacks could stay on his property. Did you call Biden racist, Sally? Who said that no blacks should, he didn't want his kids to go to school with black people? Or did you guys forgive him when he said that he's been cured of racism? Now, I would like this video to stay monetized, so I can't talk much about it. Feel free to support the stream if you like. Grab your memberships or leave me a like or two under the video. But you want to call Donald Trump racist and excuse the racist past of the Democratic Party. Make it make sense. The last I checked, the Democratic Party, I'm not going to say Democrats, was not ready for blacks to become free. Which is how you got black codes, not to mention slavery. Right? Wasn't it the Republicans that came up with the Civil Rights Act? I'm going to have to leave that alone because he is racist. But you can't say how. Yep, I'm so racist that I think black women are beautiful like this one. Dr. Manhattan, even when I'm sleepy, thank you so much. Listen, you guys, I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm just trying to talk to you. That's a good one. The fraud in California. I love that. The haters on the channel. Lots of haters on the channel. Bill Meyer, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. What's that? That's so sweet. Thank you. Nazis around the world march with Trump flags, but he got. I don't know about all that. I don't know. I don't know. Which party has black members and which don't? That doesn't define racism. Blacks used to be mostly Republican. That's a history thing. Klansmen, learn your history. Learn your history. You look prettier than in profile. I don't know about that. I don't know, but thank you. I'm a 45-year-old Republican since 18, and being fine is fight Trump is racist. But you can't say how, though. You just say that he is racist, but you can't say how he's racist. Listen, I'm not here to argue about who's racist or who's not. Donald Trump is our commander-in-chief. He is in the office now. Listen, you guys, I never said I was MAGA. I never said that. But I'm going to report the news in a non-biased way. And sometimes it hurts people's feelings. I don't mean for it to hurt your feelings. I'm just reporting on what's happening in the world. And hopefully I can do that without being labeled. Unless you want to label me as a conservative or a Republican even. But we don't need labels to have these conversations, right? The party switched. The original Republicans were black. Can y'all tell I'm getting sleepy? I'm like, ugh. And a lot of people, that's facts. Facts. I need positive energy. I give you a thumbs up. I try to give you positive energy, but thank you for the thumbs up. Hopefully y'all don't get a negative energy from me. All right, you guys. I've been live a little over 2 hours. I am going. Okay, I see your comments, so we'll come back later and I'll talk to you guys. Oh, Sally came through. Deny blacks as policies of people who has come in. Okay, Sally, that's a conversation. That's a conversation. Thank you. Jerome, love you back. Love you back, Jerome. I appreciate you. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you as a friend, as a person. Thank you. Thank you guys that show love and support me. And the commentary. Thank you guys that have been rocking with me. I'm praying for the country and I'm praying for you guys. Be safe and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye-bye. I'll be back, Sherry. I'll be back. Okay. Let me close it out with my mod's comment. If people get a negative energy to you, I think that they're allergic to something. Dr. Mod. Thank you for holding me down. Claude, I see you. Bye, you guys. Trump wouldn't rent an apartment to you. I think he would because I have the finances to rent an apartment. Thank you, Josiah, for he wouldn't rent an apartment to people that couldn't rent an apartment, but that's another conversation for another day. I better go to bed because I'm getting sarcastic when usually y'all comments will roll right off of me. Okay? Like water touching a duck. It just rolled right off. But I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna go to bed so I don't say anything dumber than what I already said. Good night, you guys. God exists.